Hey, Sharks members and fans, we have another special guest here today in Braden Hamlin-Uele, obviously a big part of our Sharks NRL team. Big Braids, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Obviously, you'll be well aware now that we're doing a mental fitness round here at the club. I know you're a big mental health advocate, as am I. I've been wanting to sit down and have a good conversation with you about this topic for a while now, and I'm looking forward to having you on here. And to start off with, Braids and I, we played Q Cup together, and we're playing a bit of reserve grade. Braids was at the Cows. I was just signed to Mackay, the Cowboys reserve grade team, and we got along really well then. I seen a video you posted out there on social media. Might have been 2020 or 2021, not sure the exact date, but I was at the Storm then, and I sort of sat there, and I think Boothie and I watched it, and I was like, wow, I had no idea, and I thought I was a reasonably close mate of yours, and I just want to maybe touch on that a little bit right now, on what happened and what you went through, and and then we'll touch on how you got out of it a bit later.
Yeah, so that video was it was very hard for me to actually post that, because the stigma around like footy players and men especially in my culture and probably the Indigenous culture as well, you're not really shown how to be vulnerable or put yourself out there with feelings and that. So believe it or not, I posted it, deleted it like 20 times, because I was like, at the time I was more so worried about people's perceptions of me, still like focusing on that being the main thing, instead of me showing an avenue around mental health for younger kids in my culture and everyone else's culture as well. So yeah, it was tough, but I didn't expect the reception at all. Like it got a lot of traction from pages that didn't even follow me, and like other sports players around that were sharing it, and it made me feel really warm that I actually was able to do something that caught traction for the good things, and it was more so just a feeling of like real anxiety, like sort of stemmed from, I think it was around COVID, where I was by myself and we were only allowed to go to and from training, and you'd hear stories about the boys and be so happy for them that they're with their family and they're with their partners and etc. And back then I was single, so I was just going home to myself, and I would sit in the driveway and I would dread going home, I would dread going inside, and it was just the anxiety of being alone and not knowing what's happening. Like it was sort of scary, but it's sort of what stemmed the video. And I didn't even realize it was going to be a 20-minute video. I just kept talking and just had a conversation with myself, really. And it's still getting reposted and shared around now, so it's pretty cool.
And the biggest thing for me when I hear you talk about being vulnerable and authentic, and that's a big value of mine, is being authentic, and I know it is for you too. And to speak to the people who feel like maybe vulnerability isn't a thing of theirs, or 20, 30 years ago it wasn't a thing at all. And do you think it is important for us as athletes to stay true to yourself, be authentic, and be vulnerable, and tell people that you're not doing well?
Yeah, of course. I think vulnerability is a strength. I see it. Like, people still sort of look down on it and say, like, masculinity should be the forefront of who a man is. But I think, like, that's dangerous. I feel like, you hear all these stories about things going bad. It's because people didn't talk. And, we want to be able to, we're in the limelight, so we want to be able to be an avenue for kids that might be struggling in whatever problems they have, or even adults, grown men, women, that might be struggling out there to be able to talk to anyone. It could be anyone. It could be, and you could even write to yourself. Like, it could be talking to yourself. Like, it could be as big as a full paragraph in your head to a little sentence. Like, as long as you feel the strength and comfortability. Nowadays, I think it's getting there, but I still think there's a lot of work to do. But as long as you feel comfortable with being able to talk like that, I think that's a very powerful person.
I really like that point about being comfortable in who you are, and then being able to give that strength to other people. So I think that's a really important point.
A big thing is, like, people are going to have opinions about you and they're gonna say
Regardless.
things. Yeah, regardless of whether you're doing good or bad. You know, Penrith, for example, they win 3 championships in a row. They're still getting hated. Like it just goes to show that no matter how good you are or whatever you're doing, people are still gonna doubt you and still gonna have bad things to say. So, true to who you are is the key to having a good life, because you're the one that's gonna look at yourself in the mirror every day. You're the one that other people see. So, just be true to you.
And that's now the power of social media, right? Like, there's so many ways and avenues to get to us and get to anyone, really, not just us as professional athletes, but it's a good way to start bullying people and really going after people and their mental health. And what do you think of the power of social media?
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because, you know, you get highlights put up and you get people praising you, and then you put one foot wrong and you get ridiculed and everyone comes for you. And it's just there's got to be a way. Like, these companies are like billion-dollar industries. There's got to be a way that you can sort of farm out these sorts of trolls and spam accounts that just keep going at people. Like, it's just, you got to remember, like, yes, we're athletes, but we're humans as well. You know, we're humans first. We go home to families. We've got nieces and nephews and cousins and mothers and brothers and sisters and fathers that see the stuff that people write about us. Like, how do you think, you know, you finish a bad day at work? What if everyone in the world went at you and your parents saw that, or your sister and brother saw that? You know, like, it doesn't affect just us; it affects everyone else around you, because everyone else wants to go back at them. And you're like, you know, just don't worry about it. Or people feel sad for you. It's like you're affecting a lot of other layers here, not just us.
And the narrative is, for those people who are doing it, is, well, they get paid enough, so they should be able to put up with it. Well, no, because if a teacher has a bad day and maybe might have, you know, hurt a kid's feeling or something, they're not going to go home and cop it on social media, are they? You know, like, so and that's what leads to a lot of mental health issues in sports people's lives. You know, like the social media, then people attacking them constantly, and we see it a lot. And do you feel like there is a way for the young generation who are experiencing it to be able to deal with it? Do you feel like maybe just not reading comments or deleting social media for an X amount of time, do you reckon that will be able to help to their mental fitness being at a good state?
Yeah, I think the easiest way for the younger generation to get through it would probably be delete it for a little bit, have some time off. I know I did it last year for a fair bit, and I'll probably do it again when I start playing again this year. But, you know, like, all your friends are on it, so you're sort of trapped around it. It's everywhere. You know, everyone's got Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff like that. So, yeah, to find strength in deleting the social media apps goes a long way, because then they can't really get to you. But, you know, it's sad that you have to even go to that extent at such a young age. You know, like, it's just crazy. But yeah, I wish people would just be kind. Like, it's free.
Yeah.
But it's so much easier to be nasty, and it's so much easier to be the bad guy. But I don't get it.
Okay, well, let's go back to when you were going through your mental health stage, when you were at, you know, nearly your lowest or around your lowest, or just when you weren't feeling your best. You know, I had Gus Warner here for Got You for Life, who they're partnering with us for this mental fitness round, and we spoke about building your village. And when I mean that, what I mean by that is building the people around you, or the people you talk to in your most vulnerable state. And what sort of village do you have, and do you continue to have, and who are the people that you see that are inside your village that you can go talk to every day?
Yeah, my family first and foremost. It's been pretty crazy seeing my dad. Obviously, he's full Samoan, so he grew up pretty strict in a religious household, and seeing his sort of, I wouldn't say transformation, but mind being open to what now is. It's pretty cool. So he's been there for me through a lot. My brother and my sister have been there through it. They were there when I was driving out to the national park and sitting on the edge of the national park and just sitting out there watching the waves crash against the rocks. They were there when I was felt like I was going through some depression. They were there for me. They were always uplifting me. And last year, obviously, not being able to string a few games together was pretty bad. But my partner Chanel, she's been massive for me in that sort of regard too. Like, without her, I dare say 2023 would have been pretty rough.
Yeah, it's good that you have some really good people around you, and I know your family well, and I know that they'll be there for you every step of the way. You have a really good family there, Braids. And what about here at the Sharks, as our club, as our, you know, everyone calls it a culture? Do you feel like we have a culture or a really good group of guys that someone can come in and let one of the boys know that they're having a bad day?
Yeah, 100%. We're like, I can't remember a team that I've been a part of that's been this close. Yeah, everyone is comfortable with everyone. Everyone gets along with everyone. There's no cliques. There's no little groups that, you know, you obviously veer off to who you actually are very close with, but for the most part, everyone gets along. Everyone goes out with everyone catches up with everyone. So, yeah, if you're feeling down in our team, I think people know it and they text you for sure, especially you. You know, you're a big advocate for that. And I know when boys have gone through injuries and that, you're the first one to check in with them. And it's very admirable of you to be able to do that, especially to boys that, you know, might not be known by the community, but, you know, in our crew, they're known, and I commend you for that.
Thanks, Brad. That's nice.
Nice, bro.
Ready to talk about you, though.
That's right.
So what about now? You know, we have, you know, you've gone through some adversity. You've just signed, you know, a good deal for yourself. You've been playing, when you're on the field, you've been playing some really good footy, and, you know, you've played for Samoa. And for the people out there listening, and some of the younger generation who maybe going through a difficult time with their mental health, and it proves that when you do get through it and you do put things in place to get to where you are, you can be successful and you can reach your dream or whatever you're going. What sort of things do you implement into your life now that your mental fitness is going to be in a good state every single day?
Yeah, I know that I'm a big believer in journaling. You know, even if I write out a line, I'm still doing that most nights. Try to do it every night, and it's much easier to do it when things are going bad, because you have stuff to actually, like, you know, you can just write out, oh, this is a negative thought in my head, but it's important to, you know, still write out your good thoughts too, because there's still thoughts that cloud you. And I have re-kicked off or restarted going to therapy. So I've been going to therapy for the last month and a half. And it was nothing more to just clean up on me as a person. You know, like, I just felt bad habits creeping in, and it was affecting life around me. So going to therapy is it's working wonders for me at the moment, and, you know, I'm feeling really balanced, and it's just the mindset of just the balance of footy and not footy. You know, like, footy and life is at a good spot at the moment, and yeah, those are pretty much the two things that I have in everyday life.
I appreciate you sharing that. It's not easy to say that you're still going to therapy when life is going pretty good, and it's an important point you make again there, because I know, like, at a point last year when I was going really well with my mindset coach, and it was just before I got picked for Origin, and I stopped doing our normal sessions on every Sunday. I would do a session, but because it was going so well, I didn't think I needed it. And then when the Origin thing happened, I come crashing down, and then I just went away from what was working for me, you know. And then I got back into it, and it's just a point I'm trying to make is that when you're feeling like you're at your top of your game or you're top of your day-to-day life, it's still important to stick to your routines, your journaling, your breath work, or however you do it, because you always search for it when you're at your low, but regardless, you need to be sticking at your best every single day, and whatever's getting you to that point, you stick to it. And it is important to journal all the good things that happen in the day, because you can look back on and reflect and go, righto, when I'm at my best, what's going on? Look back, all right, that's what I'm doing every day. So it is important to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think people see therapy as a ambulance at the bottom of the hill, whereas it can be an ambulance at the top of the hill before the slump happens, or it can be at the middle when you feel like you're about to go. Like, therapy is a thing that, I don't know, it's like journaling, but you get feedback from someone that is an unbiased opinion, and you know it's a safe space because doctor confidentiality, you know, like, they can't tell anyone. So it's a very safe space to just go in there and talk about everything that's going on, even if you want to ask for tools about how you can stay this way for as long as you can, like, you know. And it's an up and down journey. It's never, you know, just always up. You're always going to feel down. You're always going to have slumps. But if you have the tools in front of you, and if you have the tools already in your tool belt, like, you know, it shouldn't be as hard as it usually is.
And it's never smooth sailing for anyone. And you could be the most successful person in the world, but still have down days. And I think that it's really important that everyone knows that, regardless of whether, the perception of your story is not as powerful or as the adversity isn't as hard as mine, like that person still is just as important because they're going through that at the time, aren't they? And,
yeah, exactly.
I always try and make that point when someone says that, and what about when people are going through their struggles and they feel like counselling isn't working? It's an important message that not everyone will like a counsellor, or not everyone will like doing things a certain way. Everyone's different, and everyone deals with things differently. And for me, like the best counselling I ever got, and the way I got through mine was when I started teaching reading at a school, and I worked with kids who their home life wasn't great, low socioeconomic area in Mackay, and those kids changed my life, or I changed theirs. What do you say to that point? Because you might not like the first or second counsellor. It's important to stick at it and find what suits for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I completely agree. I had, I think it's my second counsellor or therapist that I've gone to in the last few years, and the first one wasn't. I'm not saying that they were bad at all. They were great for me at the time, but you sort of feel like you outgrow them, and it took a while to actually accept the fact that it wasn't gonna be the same fit for me anymore. But they were fine with it. They understood it, because you're right. Like, you're not gonna kick off straight away. You're not gonna feel open to talking to someone the first time you talk to them. So yeah, it's important that you just stay wanting and stay keen to work on yourself, because it'll come around. Like, one day you might have a break or something, and then you just have a chat with someone that's actually a counsellor, and you'll just be like, this is just like having a conversation over coffee. Like, it's so easy. So yeah, it's definitely important to just keep on trucking along.
And is there any advice you'd give out there to someone who's listening right now that just feels like they don't have the strength to speak out to someone? Like, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I think it's important that, there's no rainbows without rain. So you've got to you've got to allow yourself to feel sort of low, but there are people there for you no matter what. Like, you might feel alone, and you might feel sheltered by yourself, but I can guarantee you there's someone out there that close to you, that wants to listen to you. They'd rather talk to you here than, be too late. Yeah, to giving a eulogy at your funeral. Like, that's what people feel like. Don't feel like a burden at this time. Like, the most important time for you to get help is now. If you feel alone, like, yeah, there will be people there that want to talk to you about anything, or not even talk to you, just listen to what you're feeling. Like, people will be there for you.
It's a really powerful message there, Brad. I like it. So probably to finish with, I've a big advocate, and I've been trying to get a mental health round in NRL for a little bit now, and I know you're a big advocate for it too. And one, what's it mean for us here at the Sharks to be putting into place a mental fitness round for us against the Dragons coming up? And two, do you think it's important that we do get a mental health round in the NRL as a whole?
Yeah, I think it's massive that we're the ones to be able to kick it off. It shows everyone that we're actually serious about it here, and we actually do care about mental health. And putting a mental fitness round in is it's awesome. And I do think NRL do need a round like that to just showcase a bit more. It would help out people that, supporters would watch it and be like, yeah, the NRL care about this, so it must be a big thing. I think it might change a bit of people's perspective on it, and perspective on us too, and how they sort of treat us. There'll still be those trolls every now and then, but for the most part, I think people will start to understand that we are everyday humans that, do things outside of footy, like play games with their computers, or go fishing and do everything that everyone else likes to do. So yeah, I think it's important that we shine some light on it and actually kick it off, and it's exciting.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's important that if we do have these sorts of rounds, then the more education people can get, and certificates they can do, or courses they can do, and we can get more people out in the communities, the Indigenous communities, the Samoans, the Tongans, all these different communities who do struggle with the numbers of suicide. And the more we can, showcase it, and there's that many fans out there who love the NRL, and if they can see us promoting how important it is to us, then it would be important to them that mental health is a real topic here in Australia and in the world. And Gus Warren from Gotcha for Life was rattling off a few statistics to me before, and I don't even want to repeat it. It's how sickening it is, So, but yeah, Braids, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing a bit of your story. And I suggest if you want to have a listen to Braids' story, go and have a look, and maybe one day we can sit down properly and share it. But right now, I think it's important that we do share about our mental fitness round and the tools that we have and we continue to have to become where we've got to, and as a professional athlete. So appreciate it. Love you. Let's go.